All right, let's talk about something really important. How do you make sure the people you love are taken care of? If you're not around anymore. The answer might be a lot simpler and way more affordable than you think. So today, we're going to dive into term life insurance. At the end of the day, all insurance is really about tackling the unexpected. It's about having a plan for life's big what ifs, so you can have some peace of mind and just focus on living your life right now. And this is really the question that it all boils down to. I mean, take a second and really think about it. It's a tough one for sure, but facing this head on is the absolute first step to creating a real financial safety net for your family. Okay, so what's the game plan here? Let's break down one of the most popular solutions, term life insurance. We're going to get into what it is, exactly how it works, and why it's such a go-to choice for so many people. So here's the core idea, and the keywords to remember are temporary and specific period. This is not a forever thing. It's pure, simple protection designed to cover you for a set number of years. Maybe it's 10 years, 20 years, or even 30. And this, right here, gets to the heart of why people choose it. Term life isn't some complicated investment vehicle. It has one job, and one job only: to give your family the largest possible payout for the lowest possible price. It is pure, simple protection. And when you put it side by side with permanent life insurance, it becomes super clear. Term life is just that pure protection we've been talking about. It's temporary, it costs less, and it doesn't have a savings account attached. Permanent life, on the other hand, mixes protection with savings, so it lasts your whole life, but, well, it's a lot more expensive. We're going to stick with the powerful simplicity of term life today. Let's make this real with an example. Meet Steve and Amy. Steve buys a 20-year policy for $75,000 and names his sister Amy as the beneficiary. It's really simple. If Steve passes away anytime inside that 20-year window, Amy gets the money. But if he's still around after 20 years, the policy just ends. It expires. He paid for protection during that specific time of need, and that's it. Now, it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. You can think of term life as having three main flavors, and each one is designed for a different kind of financial need. Let's check them out. First up is level term, and this is by far the most common one you'll see. The name says it all, really. The death benefit is completely level. It stays flat for the entire term. So if you buy a $500,000 policy, it's a $500,000 policy on day one, and it's still a $500,000 policy on the very last day. Then you've got increasing term. Now, this is for people who kind of expect their financial responsibilities to get bigger over time. With this policy, the death benefit actually grows. It goes up over the years, often to keep up with things like a rising salary or growing family. And finally, we have decreasing term, which is, you guessed it, the exact opposite. Here, the death benefit gets smaller over time. Now, why on earth would you want that? Well, it's actually perfect for covering a specific debt that's also shrinking, like your mortgage. As you pay down the loan, the amount of coverage you need goes down with it. So here's a quick recap of how it all fits together. Level term is your go-to for consistent needs, like replacing your income while the kids are growing up. Increasing term is perfect if you're expecting your income to grow. And decreasing term is tailor-made for those shrinking debts, especially a mortgage. The most important thing is to match the type of policy to your specific goal. Okay, so a common knock against term life is that, well, it's temporary, it ends. What if your life changes? What if you realize you need coverage for longer? Well, there are some really powerful options you can add to a policy that give you a ton of flexibility for the future. First up is the convertible option. And honestly, this is huge. This gives you the right, written into your contract, to swap your temporary term policy for a permanent one later on. And here's the most amazing part. You don't have to take any other medical exam. You don't have to prove you're still healthy. You basically get to lock in your good health from day one. In this example right here shows you just how powerful that can be. Let's go back to Steve. Say he has a heart attack 10 years in. He might not be able to buy a new life insurance policy anywhere. But because he had that convertible option, he can switch to a permanent policy, no questions asked about his new health condition. It's an incredible safety net. The second key feature is the renewable option. This gives you the right to just extend your coverage for another term when your first one runs out. And just like that convertible option, you get to do it without another medical exam. So if you get to the end of your 20-year term and realize, hey, I still need this, you are guaranteed the right to keep it. But there is a catch. There's always a trade-off, right?
When you renew, your new price, your premium, is based on your new age. So if you bought the policy at 30, when you renew at 40, you'll pay the rates for a 40-year-old. When you renew again at 50, you'll pay the rates for a 50-year-old. They call it a step-up premium because the cost steps up each time you renew. So after all that, the big question is, how do you decide if term life is the right move for you? Let's do a quick, no-nonsense reality check looking at the major pros and cons.
On the one hand, the advantages are really strong. It's affordable, it gives you a massive amount of coverage for your money, and you can add options like convertibility to give you flexibility. On the other hand, the disadvantages are really just the flip side of those same coins. The protection is temporary, those renewal premiums can get pricey, and you're not building up any cash savings. And I think this quote just sums it up perfectly. There's really no such thing as good or bad insurance. It's all about finding the right tool for the right job. And term life is an absolutely brilliant tool for solving a temporary need for a lot of protection at a very low cost. So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What temporary need in your life needs protecting? Is it raising your kids? Paying off the mortgage? Getting a new business off the ground? Once you can name that specific need, you'll know if term life is the right fit for you.